it allowed me to embrace something that I had ran from for so long.
It's the Self Care for Success show. Meet your certified life and book coach, Joanne Dean.
Greetings and welcome to the show. We are delighted to introduce today's guest. She is a licensed clinical social worker, a Reiki master, life coach, and author. Please help me welcome Roneiko Danielle Henderson to the show.
Roneiko, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of your show, Joanne.
Thank you. So, our very first question is, how are you?
I am doing good. I am adjusting to all the different changes that are going on, both internally and externally, and just enjoying life on so many different levels.
I love the sound of that. So, tell us, who is Roneiko Henderson?
Ooh, now that's a very, wow. I would say that where I am at now in my life, Roneiko Danielle Henderson is evolving on a daily basis. I would say that I am an open book. I have always been someone that have been very open about what is going on, not really worrying about what people may say or think, because I've always felt that with sharing my story and what has taken place or what is currently taking place, that someone needs to hear that. So, one of the things when I say evolving, I'm learning more about who I am as a person daily. The person that I thought I was, I discovered that wasn't me. Um, Over the last couple of years, I've lost a few titles, which allowed me to go back and look at who I am. I'm still a mother, but I am someone that is putting 100% into self now and making sure that I take care of me. So I'm a very giving individual. I'm very caring. I'm very empathetic. I can be very straightforward. And I'm very loving. And I just really want to embrace everyone that I come in contact with and be able to share my gifts in which I have. And I will know individually how I'm supposed to do that based on who comes to me. And so Roneiko is evolving. Roneiko is reflective. Roneiko is open to doing what needs to be done so that I can be all that I'm supposed to be living within my purpose.
Mhm. And I heard you say that you're evolving and that you're giving and that you're caring, which is so in line with who you are as a professional and as a licensed clinical therapist. Tell us what put you on the path to choose to be a therapist.
It's interesting because being the oldest of four, you're always like, I was put in a role of a parenting role because I was the oldest. My mom had to work. And so I found myself, I'm like, oh, I got to be home with these kids. But as I got older, I was the person that people always came to and told their secrets to, and they knew that it would be safe with me. And as I thought about it, I really enjoyed that, even though early on I didn't know how to release all the stuff that I had, because I'm like, that's probably why my head is this big because I have so much stuff, people. But when I was in college, so many people would come to me and they felt safe with that. And so that was an evolving situation that occurred because I found myself really enjoying it because it started with just helping people as a social worker. And I decided to return back to school to get my master's in social work because I was like, I can't call myself a social worker if I'm not really a social worker with the degree and the papers to prove that. But going into the helping profession, I just really enjoyed that. And then as things start to get a little bit more complicated, it was more than just being able to take $20 and buy food for a family so that their kids were not removed from them. It became dealing with mental health and all other, dilemmas that were going on in trauma. And so I needed to make sure that I was equipped with the tools I needed to assist on that level.
I love that. Have you found the career rewarding?
It is very rewarding. I have bounced back and forth with children, working with children as well as adults. Currently, I am more working with children, which is really giving back because I'm working with military children. And for me, I find it rewarding because neither one of my kids were forced to be removed every 2, 3 years for a situation because of deployment. And so just being a constant in these children's lives, even for a year, makes a big difference. So it's very rewarding. And I also have the opportunity to work with adults by working with their parents. So it has been rewarding. It is something that one thing with being a licensed professional, you have to make sure there's this situation to be able to remove everything before you go home so that you don't take it home. And when you're in this line of work, you will meet individuals that remind you of family members and others. So you must keep it very professional because it's so easy to say you want to do things for them and you have to make sure you keep those boundaries.
Of course, we're fellow social workers, so I totally understand that, which is kind of how we met, working in the field together. But one of the things I absolutely love about the work that we do is that we get to hear the behind the scenes stories that comes with serving each family. And I am so excited and privileged that I had the opportunity to read your first book, Reflections by Roneiko, and I believe that it was inspired from the work that you do. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So it's interesting. The book is very much twofold and definitely much inspired by the people that I have worked with over the years. I found myself when we were placed on restriction with COVID, my son and I were living abroad in Asia. And at the time, many people were teleworking, and I decided that I would not telework. I still wanted to make myself available for the men and women that were serving the military because it was so much going on. People were worried about their families back in the States and they couldn't speak with them. And so it started out with this, let me start writing something just to post because everybody's going to be on social media. And so I sent something to my supervisor and I call it Thought Provoking Tuesdays. And she's like, oh, it's great. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do this every week now. So I've given myself something. And so when I say it was twofold, it allowed me to embrace something that I had ran from for so long, and that was writing, because I really didn't think that I was adequate at writing. Not enough to write a book, although for many years I had stated that I was going to write a tell all book. But it just brought back stories. I just wanted people to reflect on things that were occurring in life and understand that this was a moment for each of us to step back and realize that we can change the dynamics in which were taking place within our lives. And I truly believe that no one at this time should be the same individual that they were when we went into this pandemic, this crisis. I believe that it was presented to us as a world for us to take out the time to return to having family time, looking at ourselves and what goals that we wanted to achieve and do and get them done. Also, I myself was going through a transformation during this time. I was going through a divorce. And so it allowed me an opportunity to also reveal some of those things when it came to my thoughts and feelings about that whole process. And so I believe from some of the stuff that I heard back from people, it was very awakening for them that they were able to journal their thoughts and their feelings with reading each story.
What did you learn from the experience?
The writing the book experience,
Yes.
you know, I learned a lot about myself. I surprised myself a lot during each step of the process because more than half of it was written prior to returning to the States, and then the remainder once I returned home. And so during that time, as I said, I was going through a divorce. I was trying to make sure my son was settled. It was just so many different dynamics. And I just had to make sure that I stayed focused on getting out the information I felt needed to be out for others that may be going through some of the things similar or just to put it out. I just feel like when we go through things in life, we are supposed to share that because it can assist someone else to understand that they're not the only individual that are currently going through the situation that they're going in.
I totally agree with you, which is why I decided to do season 2 of the podcast because I really believe that we all have a story to tell and that someone can benefit from our story and our personal journey. So thank you
That's
so
so
much
true.
for sharing that. Where can we get a copy of the book? So this is the book. Awesome.
Thank you. So, thought provoking reflections during a pandemic is available on Reflections by Roneiko. Um, .com, as well as it's available on Amazon if you would like a copy.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there anything you would like to leave our listeners with?
I would just like to say, don't give up. You know, so many times obstacles are presented before us, which can cause a detour, but a detour or delay does not mean that it is not meant to happen. Sometimes it is not the time that it needs to be for what needs to happen. So don't give up. Keep pushing, keep moving forward. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It may seem dark and gloom, but trust and believe if you keep going straight forward, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you will not be disappointed that you took the journey to get to the path in which you were supposed to follow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I know that somebody will definitely be touched by the message we shared today, and we love and appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Joanne. I love and appreciate everything that you do also.
Thank you. So until next time, remember, it all begins with you choosing you. I'm your self care sister, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. And because there was still so much more to talk about, join us next week for part 2 of the conversation. See you then.